Welcome back, farmers. If you're not familiar with a no-dig / no-till bed, stick around because I'm going to show you how we can turn any patch of grass into this bed right here. So first order of business, what am I going to be using this year to build my garden beds? Based on the garden beds that I have right now, the soil is not incredible and I would really like to give it a big boost this year. Also, I really want to increase the aesthetics of how it looks because my garden last year, the plants did well, but it just didn't look very pretty. And this year I want to bring a whole new look and a new approach to the way I'm going to be growing plants this year. I feel like this is my first good year of understanding when I need to plant things and where they need to go in the garden based on how much shade there is and things like that. I've decided that I'm going to be using no-dig beds this year for my garden. If you're not familiar with no-dig beds, it's where you take a layer of cardboard and you put compost on top of it. And after you put the compost on top of the cardboard, you just plant right into that compost. So it's a really cool way if you have a weed problem, if you don't want to till up your land. There's so many cool videos that I got inspired by to do this, and I think it's the best approach for what I want to do this year. So the number one issue that I've had so far is finding cardboard. I don't really save a lot of the cardboard that I get from packages. From what I understand, the best way to get cardboard is if you call big companies and stores and see if they have any that you can just come pick up. I've heard Home Depot, Menards, and Costco. So I'm going to try Home Depot and Menards. I don't have a Costco near me. So that's what we're going to do right now. I need some cardboard for these no-dig beds. Let's call them.
In-store and online. Like $3 off boxes and
It doesn't have to, they can be like broken down boxes, really anything. I'll take whatever you got.
Okay, sure. When would you like to come get some?
I can come get some this afternoon.
Okay. I'll go ahead and have them we go ahead and break them down, but I'll go ahead and have some, save some aside then. Do you know about what time?
I could probably get there around 11:30.
Okay, what's your name?
Marcus.
Marcus?
Yep.
All right. Just go ahead and ask for Darren.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
See ya. Let's go. We got some cardboard. We're going to ask for Darren. Let's see how much we can get. Well, guys, it's a little too cold to start the plants outside, but here in a few more weeks, we'll be ready, and we're going to have a good season of growing, so let's go. Let's go get this cardboard. All right, farmers, so as you can tell, we found the hookup for the cardboard, and from what I understand, as long as it doesn't have the real glossy side where that's made out of plastic or tape on the cardboard, you can put it in the garden. So some of these pieces have that and they also have tape, so I'm gonna have to go through and take the tape off or just throw away the pieces with tape and the pieces with plastic on them. So I'm gonna do that right now and sort out the good cardboard from the bad, and once we do that, we'll be able to put it on the garden. So stay tuned. I might do a little time lapse here. So guys, boxes like these are just fine, even though they have the ink on them, because a lot of people compost paper that has ink on it all the time. It's no different when it's on cardboard. This has color on it, but it's not plasticky, and I'll show you an example of what we're not going to use here in a second. So this right here is going to be an example of something we're not going to use. It has that glossy texture on it, and I'm sure these things are delicious, but not going to be going in the garden because it does have plastic. And all the boxes that have tape, I'm throwing them over here, and I might go through and take all the tape off if I don't have enough, but there's quite a bit here that doesn't have tape, so if I don't have to go through and take off all the tape, I won't. But if I need to, I will, but we're definitely not going to be putting this on there. Shout out to the guy from Rural King that said I could have this. If you guys have a Rural King, I would definitely reach out if you're looking for cardboard. If you don't have a Rural King, don't stop looking. As you can tell early on, I was not able to find anybody, but if you just keep calling around, you'll find some, trust me. Luke, did you see all this? Yeah, big dub. Guys, it's pieces like these that we're looking for. These are going to be ones that are going to take up a lot of space, and honestly, if you have to sort through all this, it's definitely worth it if you're getting it for free, in my opinion. Alright, so I've sorted through all of it, and it looks to be like a 70-30 split on usable stuff and non-usable stuff. I wouldn't say this stuff is completely unusable, but I'm going to have to go through and take all the tape off and all the labels that have plastic on them, and that's going to take a lot of time. So we're going to see how far I can get with what we were able to salvage, and if it comes to it, there's quite a few in here that only have like a few labels here and there, and I'll probably sort back through it to see if I can just like take off a label and then use it. So I don't think all of this is going to go to waste. I don't think a majority of it will, but that stuff's going to be usable a lot quicker, and we'll see how much of that is going to be able to cover a garden. I don't know if it's going to be able to fill both of them, but we'll just have to see. I'm actually pretty impressed. The soil is starting to look really good under this tarp, and I've only had it on here for a few weeks, so that's good news. We're going to put the cardboard down, and we're going to build this soil and make it even better. Longer than I thought it would. I also added some straw around the edges, and that is going to lead us to the next bed. I've decided that I'm going to do like a lasagna layered bed. I've seen it done before, and I have a ton of straw, so I might as well use it. Come here, get up here. Here, get up here. If you guys haven't seen already, this is Stella. She is a 6-month-old Australian cattle dog puppy, and she's kind of crazy. So she's going to be in a lot more videos here soon, and I can't wait to see her grow up. It's going to be really cool. Hopefully she can help me in the garden, but right now she's going through that puppy phase where she's kind of crazy and unpredictable. So yeah, that's Stella. Alright, so here's my second bed here. This one I put compost on last season, and I really don't think I'm going to need to put cardboard on top of it and then put straw around the borders. I'm going to just completely cover this with straw, and then when I do get some compost, which I'm still waiting on, that's why I didn't really put any on the other bed quite yet, I'm going to move the straw to the side and then put the compost in a nice straight line, and that should prevent weeds from popping up. So it's just something I'm going to try, and hopefully it goes well. We're all about experimentation, and I really don't want to have to go through and find a bunch more cardboard. That bed really needed it because it hasn't had compost added to it in a really long time, but this one just had some added to it last season, so we should be good from here on out. Alright, so I've untarped it, and we're going to spread as much straw as we can. I'm going to start out with 3 bales. I don't know how much that's going to cover, but I know one bale went all the way around the edges of my last bed, so we'll see how many 3 can do. I have 16 more, actually 17. I have 17 more bales, so I'm not afraid to put this on thick because it probably will be the last round of mulch I put on it until we start planting stuff this summer. Alright, 2 things. I did not realize how much straw is in a bale of straw. That's incredible. So I bought way too much. So I'll have plenty to sprinkle on the garden as weeds start to pop through. But the reason we're doing this in the first place is to eliminate any weeds that might come up before the season even starts. So I'm really happy, and I will probably need to use 1 or 2 more bales over on this side, but that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put the tarp back on it and finish that side, and I'll be done. Alright guys, we just got 2 more bales. I'm gonna put the tarp on, and we'll pick this back up when I go get some compost. So what's up, farmers? It's been a couple weeks, and this is what the cardboard's looking like after it's gotten exposure to a little bit of moisture. We've been keeping the tarp on it a little bit, and it's still let a little bit of moisture in, which is fantastic. We've been able to actually get some of the weed seeds in here to germinate that I don't want. As you can see, we have a little bit of horseradish here, and it has germinated, and when we put the tarp back on here, it will probably die. So hopefully we can eliminate the whole horseradish mess once and for all. So now that the cardboard has been sitting, it's nice and damp, we are able to put compost on here. So by the end of today, I want to put all of this compost on my 2 gardens. The one with the cardboard is going to have priority, and we're going to try and put this on about 3 inches thick, 3-foot wide beds, and then we're going to fill the aisles with straw. And once we get all of that completed, we're going to put the tarp back on and wait for the weather to warm up, and encourage all of those seeds to germinate and then die. So that way when I come through with my seedlings, I can plant them straight into the compost and not have to worry about weeds. And hopefully, now that the cardboard's down, we won't have to worry about weeds throughout the summer. I'm sure we're gonna have a few. This method is going according to plan, and hopefully I can have my no-dig beds by the end of the day. All right, so what we're doing over here, Morgan's doing a good job. We measured out how wide the beds are gonna be. We just took a stick, measured 3 foot, put another stick, and then did the same thing on the other side, and then attached string on each one, so that way we can figure out how wide we need the beds to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in those 3 foot beds with compost on top, and then in between each bed is going to be a 1.5 foot of straw. Alright, so we've measured out 2 beds. Originally I thought we were going to be able to get 6 beds in here, but the way it's looking, I think we're only going to be able to get 4 or 5, which is okay. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you had them planned, but we're going to readjust and see what we can do in the other garden bed to make up for it. All right, farmers, so we've put the compost down and we filled up the pathways with straw, and all we're gonna have to do now is put the tarp back on, and we're gonna wait for it to get nice and warm outside to cause those weed seeds that potentially could be in the compost. So unless you have a very reliable source of compost where you know it's not gonna have any weed seeds, if you have that reliable source, you don't have to re-tarp it. But I'm not 100% sure how many weed seeds are going to be in here. So we're going to go ahead and throw the tarp on. And when you put that tarp on, you're going to put the black side up, and that's going to encourage the soil to get really warm, and those seeds are going to germinate in the compost, and they'll grow up to the top. But when they grow, they're not going to have access to water, sunlight, or really anything that's going to let them mature into full plants. So they're just going to die right away. And once that happens, we can remove the tarp and plant our seedlings right into the ground, and hopefully we can prevent a few months worth of weeds. Thanks for watching, and I hope your plants are growing just as well as mine.